Alright, when it comes to sports anime, you've definitely heard names like Blue Lock, Haikyuu, Kuroko no Basket and many others. Even though these names will be brought up again in the video, there is one anime that has yet to enter the mainstream, and I fear the likelihood of it is low. I am talking about Aoashi, a show I truly call underrated. This is a show that portrays a realistic side of the sport, to how emotion is presented and a variety of different themes that are explored. And my question is, why is it not popular? Before I can answer this question, we've got to go back to where it started. Aoashi was serialized on January 5th, 2015 by the author Yugo Kobayashi in Weekly Big Comic Spirit. The series was then published in English starring in November 2020. In that same year, Aoashi was awarded the prestigious 65 Shokugan Manga Award. For those who don't know, it's the oldest and major Japanese manga award that recognizes serialized manga. And you guessed it, it's sponsored by Shokugan. With that, I can only assume that is one of the reasons it got an anime adaptation in April to September 2022, further expanding to the popularity of the series. With all the history out of the way, I'm mostly going to be referring to the anime, so to keep it more spoiler free in nature. Now, Aoashi is a show about a former pro coach named Tatsuya Fukuda. For my football soccer knowers, he is referred to the Japanese Mourinho, and definitely seeing how he handles certain situations in the show, I've got to agree. He was taking a trip back to his hometown and stumbles himself in a local middle school game where he would find our MC, a young aspiring striker in his hometown named Ashito, and after that meeting, the rest was history. Now, if you've clicked this without knowing anything about him and would like a description of him, this quote from him summarizes it best. I don't need no tactical plans. The plan is me. Yes, I'm the plan. This is important, so I said it twice. This is definitely describes him best. If we're talking about competitive sports, especially one so team oriented, this type of mindset is normally portrayed as a negative way of thinking, and rightfully so. Such a selfish mindset has more cons than ups, especially if you don't have the skills to back it up, because losing and not having fun is one thing, but winning and still not having fun as your teammate, I think that's a bigger problem. But after saying all that, he is an open book that was heavily trusted by his team to carry them, and everyone was having fun while doing it. They all believed in each other, even though the skills varied drastically. But hey, everything I'm talking about was all happened in middle school, which was only one episode. Things definitely do change. At least it did early on the show. And if you need more words from the author, Ashito's a really nice guy. He speaks his mind and tells everything he's thinking and worrying about. This was from an interview, and this is definitely a part of him that never leaves. But when you join a youth team where people don't know anyone, things definitely do change. Especially when some have similar or greater skill than you, or are trying to achieve similar things to you, but have a different mentality about it. Which leads to the side characters. There's a lot of amazing side characters, from Japan's prodigy in Kurobayashi to a cold stone wall in Akatsu, and other characters with varying skills, to even supporting cast who may not be part of the team but help the players. Even the opposition that we encounter have weight to it, mostly being a battle of tactics and mentality, being unable to force your way through in most cases. The anime was great in focusing on what Aoashi does well, which is the emotion that it portrays. And especially for a slower show, it did everything it needed. Now, I'm not gonna gas the action scenes, but it does well in what it's trying to show. And the sport is okay, but I can definitely say the stronger part of the medium is the manga. I personally love the use of the white background in emotional moments. It makes it feel like we're focusing on these characters. Everyone else becomes less relevant. From the action and pose they're doing to the emotion being shown, you can clearly get a sense of how they feel just by them being isolated from everyone else and just it being them in the manga. It makes the character feel bigger than the manga itself. If we're going back to the question, why isn't it as popular? It could be as easy as the lack of exaggeration. and consistent flashy plays. It could be the reason, which I can't deny. Do I agree? Not really, but a portion definitely is. Or could it be the slower burn and the peaks not being as high, which I personally reject that notion. But now, as you remember when I said I was going to talk about those other sports anime, in comparison to Haikyuu, Aoashi takes way longer, and to most, it doesn't reach those same peaks. Once again, I disagree, do not attack me. From Ashito learning the gift that he has and learning how to use it more efficiently, to Ashito learning simple tactics that everybody who has grown in this team knows already. They were peaks to the show and to the moment that keeps getting upped and up with every new encounter we have. Even him learning to look left and right while playing football. There's definitely a lot of peaks to be talking about. And since we're comparing, it only makes sense to bring up the other football soccer manga, which is Blue Lock. This is one that is popular and is very well liked, and the weird beef it has for the people who know both series, who've picked a side. To me, other than both being sports anime of the same sport, there isn't that much compared to even the similar main abilities of the characters. They both have playmaking eye abilities that helps them see the game totally different to their teammates and opposition. But other than that, while Blue Lock is trying to create the best player which they believe will come through the striker position, Aoashi try to create the best team that can compete with the likes of Europe. Other than that, while Blue Lock feels like a high impact shonen around football, Aoashi it is the complete opposite, focusing more on realizing and showing you a true portrayal of a player's journey. And this is not to say it's extremely strict on realism, as said best by its author. I think that before it's a soccer manga, it has to be interesting as a manga. Even if you're depicting soccer in manga, isn't real soccer more interesting? I'm a manga artist, so I have to draw manga after all. You heard the guy. Now, if we're getting toxic, which one is better? That's subjective. I enjoy both, and this is not the video for it. To close this out, Aoashi definitely isn't mainstream. And really, this isn't a problem because it's famous over there in Japan, considering the awards it's gotten. So really, my goal here was never to convince you to watch the anime or even read the manga. And definitely, I wasn't here to spread agendas and say it's better than Blue Lock. Nope, that's not my goal. I just wanted to spark a conversation. Why isn't it as popular as some other sports series out there? Have you read it? Or maybe you just started and dropped it along the way? Or is it one of those series you've heard of but never felt drawn to? Whatever it is, feel free to share your thoughts in the comment below. And hey, if I convince you to watch it, consider that free sauce from me to you. But in the end of the day, it's up to you to decide what you use it on. And with that, I'm out.